Hi, welcome to this latest edition in my Questions About Anne Boleyn series, which I'm actually doing a question about Mary Boleyn today, who was, of course, Anne Boleyn's sister. This is because I've had quite a few questions recently about how today's royal family are linked to Mary Boleyn, because I often say about them having Boleyn blood. Now, if you're familiar with my work on the Boleyns, my articles, talks and videos on Mary Boleyn in particular, you'll know that I don't believe that Mary Boleyn's children, Catherine and Henry Carey, were fathered by King Henry VIII. We don't know any details at all about Henry's affair with Mary Boleyn, only that they slept with each other at least once, and it is more likely, in my opinion, that he slept with her before her marriage to William Carey, perhaps when his mistress Elizabeth or Bessie Blunt was pregnant in 1519, which makes sense with then Mary getting married in 1520. I just don't see the king sleeping with the wife of one of his close servants and friends. So the Carey children probably didn't have royal blood, but they are the ancestors of today's royal family. Let me explain. Our present queen, Queen Elizabeth II, has Tudor blood, in that she is descended from Margaret Tudor, Queen of Scotland, daughter of King Henry VII, sister of King Henry VIII, and wife of King James IV of Scotland. But the Queen also has Boleyn blood, because she's descended from Mary Boleyn, sister of Queen Anne Boleyn. Mary Boleyn and her husband William Carey had a daughter, Catherine, who was born in around 1524. Catherine married Sir Francis Knowles, and one of their rather large family was Lettice Knowles, who was born in 1543. Lettice and her first husband, Walter Devereux, Earl of Essex, had a son, Robert Devereux, 2nd Earl of Essex, born in 1565. Robert and his wife, Frances Walsingham, had a daughter, Frances, born in 1599. Frances married William Seymour, Duke of Somerset, and in 1637 they had a daughter, Jane. This Jane Seymour married Charles Boyle, 3rd Viscount Dungarvan, and they had a son, Charles Boyle, 2nd Earl of Burlington. Burlington and his wife, Juliana Knowle, had a son, Richard Boyle, 3rd Earl of Burlington, in 1695. Burlington and his wife Dorothy Saville had a daughter, Charlotte Elizabeth, who was born in 1731. Charlotte and her husband, William Cavendish, 4th Duke of Devonshire, had a daughter, Dorothy, who was born in 1750. Dorothy and her husband, William Cavendish Bentinck, 3rd Duke of Portland and the Prime Minister, had a son in 1780, Lieutenant Colonel Lord Charles Bentinck. The Lieutenant Colonel and his wife Anne Wellesley, Lady Abdy, had a son, the Reverend Charles Cavendish Bentinck, who was born in 1817. The Reverend and his wife Carolina Louise Burnaby had a daughter, Cecilia Nina Cavendish Bentinck, who was born in 1862. Cecilia and her husband, Claude Bowes-Lyon, 14th Earl of Strathmore and Kinghorn, had a daughter, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, in 1900. We knew her as Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Elizabeth and her husband, King George VI, had a daughter, Elizabeth, in 1926, and we know her as Queen Elizabeth II. So, there's Boleyn blood on the throne right now. Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, and his brother Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, have Boleyn blood twice over, because as well as their father Charles being descended from Mary Boleyn through his mother the Queen, Their mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, was descended from Mary Boleyn through Mary's son, Henry Carey. Let me explain. Mary Boleyn's son, Henry Carey, 1st Baron Hunsdon, born in 1526, and his wife, Anne Morgan, had a son, Robert Carey, 1st Earl of Monmouth, who was born in 1560. Monmouth and his wife, Elizabeth Trevanion, had a son, Thomas Carey of Sunningall Park. Carey and his wife, Margaret Smith, had a daughter, Elizabeth Carey, Viscountess Mordaunt, in 1632. Elizabeth and her husband, John Mordaunt, 1st Viscount Mordaunt, had a son, Brigadier General Lewis Mordaunt. The Brigadier General and his wife, Mary Collier, had a daughter, Anna Maria Mordaunt. Anna Maria and her husband, Stephen Poyntz, had a daughter, Margaret Georgiana Poyntz, Countess Spencer, who was born in 1737. Margaret Georgiana and her husband, John Spencer, 1st Earl Spencer, had a son, George Spencer, 2nd Earl of Spencer, who was born in 1758. George and his wife, Lady Lavinia Bingham, had a son, Frederick Spencer, 4th Earl Spencer, who was born in 1798. Frederick and his second wife, Adelaide Horatia Seymour, had a son, Charles Spencer, 6th Earl Spencer, who was born in 1857. Charles and his wife, the Honourable Margaret Baring, had a son, Albert Spencer, 7th Earl Spencer, who was born in 1892. Albert and his wife, Lady Cynthia Hamilton, had a son, John Spencer, 8th Earl Spencer, who was born in 1924. John and his wife, Frances Roach, had a daughter who was born in 1961. That daughter was Lady Diana Spencer, and she married Charles, Prince of Wales, and they had 2 sons, Prince William, born in 1982, and Prince Harry, born in 1984. So, lots of Boleyn blood in the royal family. It's nice to know that even though Anne Boleyn's line ended with the death of her daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, in 1603, Mary Boleyn's line has flourished and continued to the present day and will carry on and on. With the fact that Catherine Carey and Henry Carey both had large families, as did many of their children, there are many, many Boleyn descendants in the world. Perhaps your family tree traces back to Mary. Do let me know in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, you can subscribe by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified, and you can give me a like and leave me a comment, especially if you have got something interesting in your family tree.